Hi, today I wanted to give a book talk on Darius the Great Deserves Better. This is a realistic fiction sequel to Darius the Great is Not Okay. And what I really love about Darius books in particular is how they deal with mental health and depression. And it's a multi-generational conversation in both books, which I think is fantastic. Darius is half Iranian and half just kind of American mixed white, and that plays a huge part in his identity in both novels. In the first one, he goes to Iran and figures out that side of him for the first time, and this book takes place during the fall of his junior year of high school in Portland, Oregon. So what I really love about these books is Darius is just a really endearing and relatable character. And I love getting to spend time in his world. So this book handles depression in such a frank and honest way that makes it feel approachable and normalized, which I think is so valuable to students who deal with their own mental health issues. The story also looks at young love and setting boundaries and what it means to communicate in romantic relationships, especially when expectations between partners are different. It looks at family and how complicated multi-generational relationships can be. The book also deals with a multitude of other themes, but it also just feels authentic to being a teenager and the complicated layers of life that are present during that time. So some of the primary themes that dealt with in Darius the Great Deserves Better are consent and pressure in romantic relationships, family dynamics and multi-generational depression. And there are some fun reveals in here with family dynamics and multi-generational things that I don't want to spoil and give away, but it definitely ties into the LGBTQIA theme for the reading. Deals with male body image. It deals with friendships and how those friendships kind of ebb and flow through different seasons. It deals with relationships and figuring out boundaries and what you want and how to communicate, and how those relationships fit into your family life and your friendships and just the different layers of it. It deals with team dynamics. Darius plays soccer, and so how he fits into the team for the first time in his life. I already shared, it talks about mental health, specifically depression and body image issues. It deals with Iranian culture a bit, because he is half Iranian, and what Darius terms fractional culture. He feels fractured in his identity between being American and Iranian, and what does that look like for him, and what parts does he claim and what parts does he not. It deals with bullying and sibling dynamics. Darius gets bullied, younger sister Lale gets bullied, and just how do they handle that? And then it also deals with death and grief. The death and grief hit you harder if you've read the first book, but I think it's still great if you read the second book. I think this could definitely be a standalone if you haven't read Darius the Great is Not Okay, but I highly recommend both of them. Darius the Great is Not Okay, it just hit my heart in such a special way when I first read it a couple years ago that I couldn't wait to get my hands on Darius the Great Deserves Better, to visit this character in his world again. He is such an endearing, sweet kid who I love him in his world, and I think that you would too.